Jack Hall is a paleoclimatologist who is on an expedition in Antarctica with two colleagues, Frank and Jason, drilling for ice core samples on the Larsen ice shelf for the NOAA. The ice shelf suddenly breaks off from the rest of the continent, and Jack almost falls to his death, but his colleagues save him on time. Jack presents his findings on global warming at a United Nations conference in New Delhi. Jack found that 10,000 years ago, a global warming changed the Earth's climate into the Ice Age. Jack says that it could happen again in maybe 100 to 1,000 years from now if humans don't stop polluting the atmosphere. Most of the diplomats, including the Vice President of the United States, are unconvinced by Jack's theory. At the conference, Jack meets Professor Terry Rapson of the Headland Climate Research Centre in Scotland, who is keeping track of the world's ocean currents. Terry tells Jack that the melting of the polar ice caps has poured fresh water into the oceans and diluted the salt level balance, which has caused the temperature of the ocean currents to drop 13 degrees. Rapson observes a significant decrease in ocean temperature in two North Atlantic buoys simultaneously, leading him to believe that the melting of polar ice is affecting the North Atlantic current. To predict the future, he contacts Jack, who possesses a paleoclimatological weather model that contains information about the climate change that caused the first ice age. Although Jack originally thought these events would not occur for a long time, he teams up with Frank, Jason, and NASA's meteorologist Janet Takata to create a forecast model using their combined data. The climate system on Earth undergoes a series of negative changes, such as softball-sized hail hitting Tokyo, snowfall in New Delhi, and a group of massive F5 tornadoes striking Los Angeles simultaneously. As a result, the U.S. President permits the FAA to suspend air traffic over the country due to severe turbulence. Additionally, 3 RAF helicopters fly to evacuate the British royal family from Balmoral Castle in Scotland, but they enter the eye of a severe superstorm that causes a temperature drop of minus 150 deg-F, which freezes their fuel lines and rotors, leading to a fatal crash. Meanwhile, Jack's son Sam, along with his friends Brian and Laura, is in New York City for an academic competition where they meet a student named JD. However, the weather turns violent with strong winds and flooding rains, leading Sam to call his father and promise to take the next train home. Unfortunately, the storm becomes worse, causing the subways and Grand Central Station to shut down due to flooding. Jack informs the president that the planet will enter a new ice age in just a few days, instead of the years he previously estimated. Jack suggests that the president evacuate everyone in the southern states to Mexico since it is too late to evacuate people in the northern states. The vice president is not amused by Jack's remark, which he perceives as sarcasm. Jack leaves for New York to find his son. In Manhattan, the storm intensifies, causing a storm surge of almost 40 feet, which is about half the height of the Statue of Liberty. As a result, the island experiences severe flooding. Sam, along with his friends, takes shelter in the New York Public Library. While making their way to the front doors, Laura injures herself on a piece of sharp metal attached to a cab, but she disregards the injury and helps a woman and her children escape from a flooding taxi. People living in the northern United States are compelled to move to the south, and some Americans are crossing the border into Mexico illegally to find refuge. Jack, accompanied by Frank and Jason, sets out to Manhattan to locate his son. However, their truck crashes into a snow-covered tractor-trailer after passing Philadelphia, forcing the group to continue their journey on snowshoes. While on the way, Frank falls through the glass roof of a snowbound shopping mall. As Jack and Jason try to rescue Frank, the glass under them begins to crack, leading Frank to cut the rope and fall to his death. The U.S. president's helicopter is caught in the superstorm, leading to the death of everyone aboard, and the vice president takes charge. With much of the southern U.S. population seeking refuge at the Mexican border, the vice president agrees to forgive a significant amount of debt owed by the Mexican government to allow people to cross the border and reach safety. Sam advises those inside the library to stay indoors and wait for rescue, but some people disregard his instructions and burn books for warmth and loot the vending machine for food. Laura becomes ill with blood poisoning from the cut on her leg, so Sam, Brian, and JD set out to find penicillin on a Russian cargo ship that drifted inland, but are attacked by wolves from the New York Zoo. When the superstorm's eye passes over the city, the temperature drops to minus 150 deg-F, causing everything to freeze instantly. They manage to return to the library with medicine, food, and supplies, and survive. Jack and Jason take shelter in an abandoned Wendy's restaurant during the deep freeze. Jason collapses from the cold, so Jack drops him through a vent into the kitchen and waits for the storm's eye to pass. They continue their journey and eventually reach New York City, where they find the library buried in snow but are rescued by U.S. Army soldiers flying A-60 Blackhawk helicopters. In Mexico, the new president orders search and rescue teams to look for survivors. More groups are found on top of Manhattan skyscrapers and rescued. giving hope for others. The movie ends with two astronauts looking down at Earth from the International Space Station, showing a vast expanse of ice covering most of the northern hemisphere, including the United States north of the southern states. Thank you for watching and please subscribe. It will help me make more videos.